So here we have it, the Harman Phoenix ISO 200 colour film. So I'm going to just assume if you clicked on this video that you've kind of got a bit of an idea why everyone is excited about this film. For anyone who doesn't know, basically Harman is Ilford. Ilford make all those dope black and white films that we all shoot all the time. HP5, Delta 3200, XP2, all those awesome black and white films. They're super reliable, the images always look great. They're basically reintroducing themselves back into the colour film world, which is super exciting, especially because in January Kodak are putting all the prices up, and essentially a roll of Kodak Gold, I can't even say it with a straight face, a roll of Kodak Gold is probably going to end up costing like the same as a roll of Portra right now, and then Portra will obviously go up in price as well, and that makes me feel physically angry. So yeah, so that is just a really quick, messy overview of why the hype train has fully left the station for this film. So I have a bunch of this film to shoot through. This first roll I wanted to shoot normally and just see how it looked, how I would normally shoot it. So I just metered the same way I usually would, and all that sort of stuff. So before I show you the photos for my first roll of Phoenix 200, let's just talk a little bit about the characteristics of the film. So Harman described the film as having strong visible grain, a possibility of halation and punchy colours. Yes please, hook it up to my veins. So it got announced at 4 PM, it went on sale at like 4:01, and I'd bought a bunch of it by 4:02, and I picked it up on Saturday morning and I went straight out to shoot it. So the downside to this is that I live in the United Kingdom, the land of crumpets and shit weather. So I basically had to choose between either waiting to shoot this film or shooting it in less than ideal conditions. So we're talking like a horrible, dark, overcast, rainy day, but I was just so excited to shoot it that I was like, I'm shooting it anyway. Task at hand, yeah. Ooh! Fucking too cold, I don't want to go out there. So grain, tick. Halation, tick. Punchy colours, definitely tick. I think this looks sick, so I'm really into this film. What I think is interesting is how Harman have described this film as being sort of analog feeling, which kind of sounds weird on paper because obviously it's analog, so it's going to feel analog or whatever. But I think what they're kind of insinuating here is that if you go on Instagram, you look at like film aesthetic, you'll notice it's always really grainy. There's weird colour shifts, and if you shoot film, then you know that that's not necessarily what film looks like. If you just pull out a roll of Portra 400 and you expose it perfectly and you shoot it in good light, it's not going to be grainy, there's not going to be weird colour shifts. But to non-film shooting people, that's not the film aesthetic. They would expect it to be grainy, they'd expect colour shifts, they'd expect it to look soft. And I think it's kind of a stroke of genius by Harman here, because it feels like they've really lent into what the general populace thinks film looks like, if that makes sense. The whole marketing campaign has been amazing for this, like the timing with the Kodak prices and stuff like that. Harman released a video where they were talking about what a milestone it is, and then they were showing themselves sort of making the film and talking about how it's a totally brand new film. So Harman have described this film as being experimental, and what I think that does really well is opens up the expectation for there to be anomalies on this film. So like skin tones can look different from one shot to the next, which I think is really cool, especially for a more creative film. This probably isn't going to be the sort of film you're going to see wedding photographers replacing Portra with, but in terms of something creative, like I think the look is really cool. What I think is more important really is the statement of intent from Harman, in that like if you watch the video that they released when they announced the product, they were basically saying that all the money they make off this run of Phoenix is going straight back in to further develop it. And it's almost as if they're kind of being like, look, if you get behind this, we will go in on colour. And I think that if you can buy this film, just to basically support what they're doing, you absolutely should. I shoot a lot of film for work and stuff, and there's a bunch of different scenarios where I would use this film. I like experimental grainy film, and by buying it I'm kind of supporting this whole idea of Harman giving us an alternative. Now I've seen these scans, I'm going to shoot through a bunch more of it. I am going to sort of change how I'm shooting slightly, so I'll obviously make a follow-up video with whatever I shoot with these other rolls of Phoenix. So if that is something you might be interested in, consider sticking around. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you like it and consider subscribing to the channel, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one.